to the Serenity Solutions podcast, number 32. It's been a while. I took a short break there, just wrapping up the school year, and just honestly, I think decompressing and not knowing what to talk about lately. Maybe I've just been decompressing, as I said. Gotta figure out a place to put this. Okay, so I've been listening to a lot of music lately rather than podcasts, and the other day I listened to an Ed Mylett podcast and of course got some ideas, and I really liked his topic about encouragement versus praise and what it does, and so I took some ideas from that, and I'm going to add to it with my own info and just talk about it a little bit, because I really like that topic, and it relates to my job as a counselor as well as a teacher and working with children and adults. Everybody can benefit from encouragement, of course, and praise. So I'm going to get right into it. Today might be a mixed bag because I haven't done this for a while, and I figured out what to talk about, but I don't know how long I'm going to be talking about it. So, I've got the differences. I've got some quotes. And then I've got some stress less cards, a gratitude little exercise, and a numerology card pull at the end. So, stay till the end. The card pull will be relatable to anybody who's listening, of course. Okay, so I love how Eddie talks about everything, basically, but he, as I mentioned, I'm going to add on my information and my little tidbits and what I've experienced, but the differences between encouragement and praise, like both are positive, but differ in their focus and their impact on people. And he talked a lot about impact, and the impact that people have had on him, as well as him giving impact to others. Sorry, there's an ant on my page here. So praise focuses in on the outcome or the result, while encouragement focuses on the effort, the process, the individual's internal strength, and their resilience. Encouragement aims to inspire and motivate, while praise aims to reinforce a specific accomplishment. So praise focuses on the outcome. For example, that's an amazing accomplishment. It often involves an evaluation or judgment, which is kind of difficult not to it's like a positive judgment a lot of times if you're praising someone, of course, but there is a judgment happening there if you're telling someone, great job, I really like the drawing you made, that was an amazing race, whatever the compliment is, it does involve a sense of judgment, right? Can lead to dependence on external validation. For example, a child may start to depend on it for their self-worth. We do learn about that a little bit in teaching, and more so teaching. And when I listened to Eddie's podcast the other day, I was thinking about that, because we're not supposed to tell kids that they're so smart, which is hard because I do that quite a bit when I notice it in kids, because it's just a natural thing we've always said growing up, and it's hard to change those things, but it's better to be more specific about what they're doing, and like I said, they can become dependent on that, right? It can create pressure to perform if people are feeling, oh yeah, I need to do it because I'm getting all this praise and I need to keep doing this, or like a child, might be a swimmer or in music or drawing or whatever, sports, whatever it is, they might become dependent on that praise and then have that expectation to perform, and it might cause a lot of pressure in their life. So examples of praise are great job, I'm so proud of you, or you're so smart, like I mentioned. Whereas encouragement focuses on the effort and the process. Example, you worked really hard on that. It highlights specific actions and qualities. Example, you use so many different shades with that art project, or I noticed how determined you were when you were building that structure. Encouragement fosters a growth mindset, encourages children to see mistakes as learning opportunities. Example, you've improved so much, or I know you can do it. And some of these were reminding me of affirmations, like where you're like, I can do this, I can do hard things, I've done this before, I can do it again, that kind of thing, which I do some of those with kids when I'm counseling. And I can see how important, and that's probably why I chose to do this podcast today, because I can see how important the encouragement is versus the praise, but both are nice, right? Like I said, they're both positive. But so to summarize, praise is like a reward for a job well done, while encouragement is a gift that helps someone feel capable and worthy. Encouragement focuses on building a child's internal sense of self-worth and resilience, while praise can sometimes lead to dependence on that external validation. While praise is not a bad thing, shifting towards more encouraging language can be more beneficial for our children's long-term development, as well as our adults' development. So when I was listening to Eddie's podcast, I was thinking about the people that have encouraged me in my life and say things like, I believe in you, or you can do this, or you're working so hard, because I think process is so important, right? The process of like going through my master's, for example, that was quite the process. It was like a 4-year process. And after already doing so much other university, so I needed that encouragement, and that was more important than when the final result came and I graduated. Just having that continuous encouragement and belief from people. Like my father was very encouraging. He was, for me, very famous for encouraging me to keep going on things and to enjoy the process, is something that he said a lot of the time. So he'd be someone that I remember, of course, as an encourager, and it just really was so impactful for me, the fact that I actually heard him tell his friends one day that he believed in me, and that made a difference then, a huge difference then. Well, she did it, I'm so proud of her, she did it. That encouragement that I received from him throughout that whole master's program was more important than, oh my goodness, I'm so proud of her moment, right? So just knowing that when you, as parents, provide that encouragement, like of course my mom encouraged me as well. My dad was helping me with editing and stuff, so he was a big part of the process. And I believe I lived with him at the end of that. And there was definitely times where I needed to push through and keep going, right? And Eddie talks about how when he talks to his friends, he says more than I'm so proud of you. He talks to them about how he gives them encouragement. Like, you are an amazing speaker, and you've done this many times, and you can do it again, and I believe in you. And he talked about those moments being more impactful than any of the moments when they have accomplished things, like, and he has had his friends or family members tell him things like that, right? Like, that meant so much more to me than that final result, outcome, and praise. So it's something to think about, like, in your life, where have you noticed that encouragement, what I've just talked about, the differences, made it more of a difference than that final praise that you receive for, like, winning the race or graduating university or performing the music performance or winning the championship, whatever it is. Were you more impacted by the process of the people egging you on, or not egging you on, like cheering you on, and being there for you and watching you and believing in you throughout the whole process and encouraging you? Or were you more impacted when you received that hug and that final accomplishment, or that I'm so proud of you? Just maybe think about that. So the people that believe in me, and like the closest people to me that have believed in me throughout my life, are definitely the ones I thought about. It was more remembering, if they actually truly helped me through the process. That was more impactful. I also like to focus on the process, because the process of a lot of things takes a lot longer than the result and the outcome. It's always nice to hear praise, but that process, like our life, is a big process, right? And we're striving for things all the time, but that, like, process and journey, we call it, takes a lot longer than the final day that, the big thing happens. So hope that makes sense. It's like practicing in sports, or practicing music, or going to the gym, or like all the things. These are all the journey, the process to get to what you want, but they're ongoing, right? Forever. So if we don't have that encouragement, it's hard to get through things sometimes. Also, this just reminded me of grief. Like, if you don't have that encouragement to keep going when you're in the, tough times, you might not make it, right? So it's just like that encouragement versus, with grief you get, you're so strong, you're so resilient, that's amazing, you got through that, I can't believe it, like that kind of thing when you're feeling more healed. But grief is definitely an ongoing journey, right? It's an ongoing kind of permanent thing. So that's a good example of needing that encouragement along the way and continuously, and like how important that encouragement is in that time. And this is my idea. I never got that part from Eddie. It just reminded me of that, how much of a journey going through grief of losing someone you really love is, and it just like it creeps up. There's waves, right? And I actually I've been seeing people on my walks for years with a dog. I talk to them. I am pretty friendly. I talk to a lot of people. But recently, near the end of the school year, I found out that they knew my dad. And as you know, if you've been listening to this podcast, he was struck by a dangerous driver suddenly and died. And so it's been a journey for sure. Since 2017, it's been a while. But when that man that worked with him in insurance talked about him and, how funny he was and how funny he was and the life of the party and never alone and just like all the things that are true about him when he would probably go to those insurance conventions or parties. And it was just like so emotional for me that I just like teared up, and I was like, wow, that's crazy because, I talk about my dad all the time and I'm okay, but like because they were new people that knew him and talked about him, that made me tear up. So, but the encouragement I received from them that he was a great guy and they loved him and hearing about him, and it was like a visit, right, from him. And it actually happened to be right across the street from the last time we hugged, and he hugged me the tightest he's ever hugged me in his whole life, or my whole life, I guess. So it's weird how these things happen, but there's like the process, the journey, the encouragement, and the encouragement from him up above too. And I think there was something going on that week that I needed a bit of extra encouragement with as well. So, yeah, I don't know, I'm trailing off a little bit, but I'm gonna go to the gratitude exercise, which is fitting right now. And then I'll do the stress less cards, and then the numerology pull. So we won't be much longer, but this gratitude exercise is from the 5-minute gratitude journal, and this I just got at the dollar store a few years ago. But it doesn't really have an author. So it says, I would maintain that thanks are the highest form of thought, and that gratitude is happiness doubled by wonder. This is by G.K. Chesterton. So I would maintain that thanks are the highest form of thought, and that gratitude is happiness doubled by wonder. So think about that for a second. So when someone thanks you, that's the highest form of thought. They're like, thank you so much for everything that you did. Like, that's usually a meaningful thing. And gratitude is the happiness doubled by wonder, because you're happy and you're also maybe feeling like it's like magical kind of thing. So the exercise is a quality of one of my closest friends that I absolutely love, and then it gives you time to write about that. So I'm going to just think about it as we go along here. I love when people listen and they're humorous, understanding, and non-judgmental. What I appreciate most about this moment right now? What do you appreciate the most about this moment right now? For me, I appreciate I'm in a safe place. It is so beautiful outside. I've got my 3 pets with me. I am feeling very grateful for thinking of a topic for this podcast, for doing my podcast today, and just grateful for my amazing parents and family, and just that encouragement that I still receive from above. That is absolutely amazing. An opportunity I have today that I only dreamt about having previously. This is the next little part you can write about. For that one, I saw whales on the beach, from the beach the other day, and I always wanted to be in a place where I actually wanted my own whales, but dolphins, whales, animals, lions, tigers, bears, and I do live in a place where I see them quite often, actually. And then something about me that's worth celebrating. I think for me, it's like my care, the care I take in my job and with people, and the nurturing part of me, maybe the feminine side, kindness. And then at the bottom it says, my capacity for joy is limitless. My potential for love is infinite. And that's the end of that exercise. I just wanted to share a quote that I found when I was perusing this Ed Mylett's book. So this is from The Power of One More by Ed Mylett. And I just perused his One More Try chapter because I was talking about encouragement and praise. And the one quote that you probably hear a lot in books and self-help things is, the man who thinks he can and the man who thinks he can't are both right. And he talks about, the person who's willing to give it one more try is likely going to be more successful. So when you act and do the same things as everyone else, you'll get the same results as everyone else. But when you implement that one more try mentality, that's when you'll find your greatest successes and your most significant personal growth. So let's just see. There was one more thing I wanted to. So when you push yourself and empty everything you have inside of you to the point of having nothing left, that's when everything will be created. So again, like pushing yourself to that one more try and encouraging yourself. And life won't hand you opportunities. You need to be the type of person who goes out and creates those opportunities for yourself. Don't wait. Okay. Hopefully that inspires someone today, because I love encouraging people. I love inspiring people. And it's probably one of the things I'm best at. I like to give praise too, but I think as a counselor and as a person, encouraging people is one of my best assets. Okay, I'm going to pull from the Stress Less cards. I'm going to do 2 Stress Less cards for people today. If you're feeling stressed at all, or it's good for people even if you're not feeling stressed. But if things get overwhelming, give yourself permission to leave the situation, take a breather, and come back to it later. Okay, so that's the first one. I'm going to pull. I'm just pulling these randomly from the deck. So either you or I need this today. When things seem hectic, take 5 minutes to do something, do nothing but stare out of the window. Do you ever do that? I know for me, when I'm like in the hot tub, I tend to work a lot and like play on my phone, and then near the end, I might like take a few minutes just to not do that, just to do nothing and just stare at the clouds and be like, okay, can I really just enjoy this time in here instead of working and doing things that aren't really relaxing my muscles because I'm tense. Okay, now I'm going to do the numerology pull. So this is very random as well. I'm going to shuffle the cards and just think, what do I need right now? What do we need to know? What's happening? I'm trying to tune in here. So what do we need to know? What's going on? All right, I'm going to pull from middle to the back of the card deck here. Oh, I pulled number 5, which is change. Interesting. It's turquoise card. It's a star on it. 5 is not a number that I, gravitate towards, but Says this card indicates a time of expected and unexpected change when anything can happen and usually does. By drawing this card, you are being encouraged to think, there's that word encouraged again, to think of your life as an adventure in which exciting opportunities could appear at any moment. Rather than fearing the unfamiliar and unknown, you are urged to embrace expansion, movement, and change. This is a time to go with the flow and open yourself to opportunities that will improve your quality of life. Anything is possible and the wheels are set in motion, so be sure to play your part by moving closer to your dreams. You may be called upon to make changes in your mindset, relationships, residence, lifestyle, or career, wherever a shift is needed to serve your greater good. It is time to broaden your horizons and re-spark your passion for life. In order to improve your current situation, you are being asked to adjust to and harmonize with the natural rhythm and cycles of your life, cycles that are leading you toward a time of movement and change. Procrastination, resistance, and fear only take you out of alignment. So surrender yourself to the opportunities that are about to present themselves. Trust that you're divinely loved and guided, and you'll be shown the way. And the affirmation is, I accept and surrender to the changes that improve my quality of life. What a nice card. And it talks about opportunities, which is funny because that last quote, one of the last quotes that I read from Eddie's book was about not waiting for opportunities. There's a call coming in. Hopefully you can't hear that because I'm going to shut it off there. Okay. So that's it for today. I am happy to be back. Always feels good to talk about these things and share them with you. Hopefully it helps somebody today. Hopefully it encourages somebody today, inspires you to do something that maybe you weren't going to do otherwise. I hope you all have an amazing, calm, serene rest of your Thursday. And I will see you soon.